Hi, and welcome to Terry Talks Movies. If I look like I'm on an angle, it's because I am. I'm parked on an angle in a hill in the Yarra Ranges east of Melbourne. And I'm looking around op shops for movies. I've already got a bunch of movies, and I'll show you what they are a bit later. But for now, I'm going to pull out, if you'll excuse the expression, and get us on the road so I can go and look at more. And you can see a little bit of what's going on here. So I'll just reverse the camera and we'll keep talking. And you can see, yep, I'm on an angle. And I'm going to pull out of the car park very carefully because it is quite hilly here. And I'm going to have to, in some way, chuck a U-turn just down here. So how is everybody? As you can see, in the hills, it's a little bit cooler than normal. Yeah, and I've got the GPS on, so you got to hear things occasionally from the beloved GPS. What I will do is keep going.
Turn left onto Sandals Road, then turn left onto Burwood Highway.
Okay, I'll do that. I think I'll turn left here anyway and just piss it off. Yeah, so I've been out and about already. I've visited the outlaws who live out this way. Not quite this far, but they do live out this way. And deliver some stuff to them. And now I'm using it as an opportunity to go through parts of the hills beyond Melbourne that I am very familiar with. There's a bunch of fucking ducks on the road. Get the fuck away, you ducks, or I will make you a l'orange. I don't think I hit a duck, but there's a bunch of ducks who are sitting on the corner there because it's that sort of place around here. Random ducks on the sides of the road, which is odd, but what can you do? Yep, so this is definitely the hilly part of the place. We're up in the mountains. Occasionally, very occasionally, you get snow up here, but for the most part, you just get miserable weather. That's what it's known for. And also for a lot of fairly well-off people who don't like you building McDonald's where they live. They get really pissed off if you build a McDonald's out this way because it ruins...
GPS signal lost.
Okay, GPS signal lost. Let's just wing it from here and see how we go. I know I'm heading more or less in the right direction. I'm heading up to a place called Monbulk, which used to be known for its stone fruit jams. There's a lot of shops around here that are big. There's places that do hearing aids, and there's lots of shishi little bakeries and places like that. All tiny little towns along the spine of these mountains. Hopefully we'll get the GPS signal back soon, and I will know where the fuck I am going to. So we're heading up into Belgrave. Any place with a name like Belgrave. Yeah, Bell means good, grave means dead. So I'm not sure that Belgrave's a particularly useful name. But there we are. I have hung around here a bit in the past. Not in the last 20 years or so, but I have found some interesting places around here in my past life and hung around them. Here we are. There's a cinema here on the right called the Cameo that I want to check out because I know I can get free tickets to the Cameo. And it shows quality films instead of just your usual rubbish. There's a bit of a worry there because there was a sign on the cinema back there that said the hills are alive. That is either a whole bunch of radioactive cannibals or they're showing Mary Poppins. Now, there's an op shop here, but I know it's got no particularly good videos, DVDs, Blu-rays, that kind of thing. Been down here once before and it was just hopeless. So I'm going through Belgrave and I'm heading up to Monbulk, which means I go straight ahead here in the hills. There's about 1 million bloody bakeries up here. That's pretty much all they have. And a place that says handcrafted milkshakes. Is there another kind? Do they have machine-made milkshakes? I suppose you do at McDonald's. But yeah, it's odd around here. And it's definitely not my hood. So let's see what we've got. And there's a lot of Teslas I noticed too, which never inclines me kindly towards an area if it has Teslas everywhere. But we'll see how we go. So we'll creep up the hills to Monbulk and I'll see what I get from the op shops. I'm really enjoying these driving vlogs. I don't know whether anybody else is, but just cruising on. And here you can see a whole bunch of tree ferns on the road, on the side of the road. Tree ferns being the major foliage around here, apart various kinds of eucalyptus trees. And it is raining a little bit too, so the weather's got marginally shitty. And it's quite cool for this time of year, 14 degrees, which is cool for February in Melbourne, or in the southern hemisphere for that matter. But yeah, it's Saturday morning too, which means I get a lot of Saturday morning traffic. So I'm going to have to weather that as much as anything else around here. No, Shubhagadra. I've got a couple of people I know who live up this way. And one of them tends to spend most of his time in the Greek Islands. So he's probably not going to be here. But yeah, so there's lots and lots of hills and mountains and dampness. And one of the other properties has too is when it gets summer and there's been a drought for a couple of years, this place is a tinderbox for bushfires. And there have been towns up this way that have been all but wiped out by bushfires in the past. Doesn't just happen in Los Angeles. So, going to be creeping around here for a while. Wildlife crossing with wombats. So they have wombats here. And I know they also have echidnas because I've seen that echidnas are cute and harmless and wonderful. Yes, they do have spines all over it, but they're cute AF and they're really kind of just harmless little creatures. Wombats, on the other hand, if you hit a wombat with a car, your car's going to probably be written off because they dig great big burrows in the ground, and they're kind of like, imagine if John Cena was a marsupial, a little burrowing marsupial. They got that John Cena, Wayne Johnson kind of thing about where they're all muscle and fur with claws on the end of it. So if you hit one with a car, your car's going to be history. It's like hitting a rock, basically, and that's the Dwayne Johnson thing. So you don't ever want to hit a wombat. Though I was driving around the hills once upon a time, years ago, and there are a whole bunch of wombats that had been road killed, and they looked like upturned footstools on the side of the road. There was that kind of they kind of look like upturned furry footstools when they have been hit by cars. But we're still crawling up the mountains here. I'm not in any particular hurry. I've got until tomorrow to get things done. And so a little bit of a driving vlog is called for. And at the end of it, I'll show you the haul I got from wandering around these very kind of Jurassic Park looking places here in the Dandenong Ranges, also known as Yarra Ranges. Let's see, picnic ground, Dandenong Ranges National Park. Nope. And hopefully that bus is going to get out of everybody's way so that we can actually do what we need to do. And yes, it is. Hooray. Get the hell away. There's also up here in the ranges the Puffing Billy, which is the last local steam train which does tourist trips up into the hills. It's kind of fun, but the carriages are open and you stick your head out of the side of the carriages and you get soot in your eyes. We're in Questi now, which is a very groovy place, and I'm going to kind of slightly turn right here to head up to Monbulk. This is the kind of little towns you get up here in the hills that have a general store and a couple of art galleries and a hot stone pizza place. And that's about it. And then, see, we're out of Questi already. That's Questi for you. Hey, we've got some sunshine too, which is a bit of a change. This was a very last minute kind of thing. We got a delivery at our place for the Outlaws, and because they don't buy things online because they hear things on right-wing news channels saying how dangerous buying things online is. And because of that, we buy it for them, taking the risks ourselves. And in this case, it was a large wicker laundry basket they wanted. And so I bought the laundry basket. It got delivered at our place 60 kilometers away from their place. And I decided to take it over this morning so that I could have an opportunity to piss away my disposable income on DVDs and Blu-rays from thrift stores, essentially. A little bit of a dodgy drive down here. I'm not familiar with the roads, but I'm going to wing it. I've got a license. I've taken lessons. I know how to do this. But it is quite pretty as well, which is why I've got the camera turned towards it rather than turned towards me, so I get distracted if I look at it myself in the screen. So, yep, I'm going to head up to Monbulk and the op shop up there, and then I'm not sure where I'm going from there, except that I know 100% sure that it's going to involve coffee, because I've only had one coffee this morning, and I got up at like 4:30 in the morning for no good reason, and then drove across town, and then drove up into these hills, and that requires more than just one espresso. See, everyone's got their headlights on here, and I've got mine on as well, which just kind of increases the visibility of the cars around here, and there's always a possibility of suddenly you get fog, and so people need to have their headlights on. And I've got a couple of cars chasing me, but I'm doing the speed limit so they can get stuff. A lot of these houses, they have trees fall on them occasionally as well. You get bushfire problems, you get trees falling on them. It's very lovely, and it's nice to live around here. Great community feel in all of these little towns. But you can occasionally have the problem of everywhere around you catches on fire. And they do have bushfire refuges, which are basically bunkers in the ground, so that if there is a catastrophic bushfire, you're caught in the town, you go to this open space, which is usually near one of the sporting ovals, and there's a big underground bunker where people can take shelter from the bushfire until it passes. And they're a fairly new innovation too. After we had some big bushfires about 5 or 6 years ago, they decided to do bushfire shelters, because imagine you get a bushfire up here, and just imagine there's a bushfire around here, and everybody's trying to get the hell out of town. That then means all of these roads are going to be clogged up with panicking people and cars, loaded up with everything they could cram into the car, including the dog and the family. And that then causes a traffic jam, delaying everybody getting out of the place. So there are those bushfire bunkers around the place when people know what to do. And the emergency services have got really, really, really good at giving people a lot of warning and telling them, get the hell out now. Or in some cases, and there have been bushfires all across Victoria at the moment, where they will tell them it is too late to go. You will have to use your bushfire plan to make sure that you don't basically cook. So we're in Monbulk now, and I'm just waiting for the GPS to reconnect so it can tell me where the op shop is that I was planning on going to. So I'm going to stop recording now and try to find this op shop. So I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Yeah, I had a bit of success here in Monbulk, and the woman's just running across the road. And I'm quite happy with that. It was only one movie, but it was a movie that I had been trying to find for a while now. So a little bit happy about that.
In 100 meters, at the roundabout, take the third exit and stay on Main Road, C406.
So I've got to go around here. Okay, so it's telling me to go up here, which is weird. I'll show you why it's weird.
Take the next left onto Moxham's Road.
See, we're on this, which is almost an alley. Turn left onto Moxham's Road, it says. Got to think that this is it here.
In 50 meters, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Main Road.
There's lots of weird dog breeds around here as well. I'm going to turn that sucker down a little bit. Yeah, so basically, weird dog breeds around here. There's something there that looked like an Afghan hound that had his legs cut off. But we'll see how we go. and I'll just get through these little towns, these little rich people towns.
In 400 meters, at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Monbulk Road, C405.
Okay, so we go back to Monbulk Road. And that person didn't even look before they came out because they are an asshole. Yeah, this is definitely not my hood. Lots of weird... How many bakeries does one little bloody town need? I mean, you know, our place has got 200,000 people. It's got like 6 bakeries at the most. This place has got 900 people. It's got 5 or 6 bakeries by itself. See, there's another one over there. It's weird. It's like there's a secret bakery cult somewhere. Okay, so where am I going? I've got to be going to the right, if I recall correctly. Yeah, weird how many bakeries these towns have. Freaky as hell. Yeah, I was in the op shop in Monbulk, and there was another guy looking for the DVDs, and there weren't any Blu-rays, so it was DVDs. And we got talking, and he talked about how he had to scrounge for movies in his local town because he'd been in a motorcycle accident which had basically deboned or defleshed most of his left arm. Was it left arm? Yeah, it was left arm. And we're talking about movies and stuff like that, and he told me where there's a few good movie op shops around. So we had a chat about that. I found the one good movie in there, which I'll tell you about later. And that was kind of fun. And had a good time with that, but he was an odd-looking guy. If you imagine Skeletor from the Masters of the Universe movie with a suntan, he looked a little bit like that. But he was very nice. And had a good time with that. So we'll see how we go heading up towards other op shops. And I do hope I've turned the right way here. Because if I haven't, we may well end up at Bundanyabba and reenact Wake in Fright. Though I would be more inclined to stop before we hit the desert. By the way, you can drive to Broken Hill from Melbourne in a day if you want to. Which is the town where the town in Wake in Fright was filmed. And it's not entirely unlike the town in Wake in Fright in many respects. Umbrella Entertainment is putting out a 4K of Wake in Fright this year, and I hope I get a copy of it. I've got 2 other copies, one DVD and one Blu-ray, but the 4K has some wonderful extras, and it's all been remastered really well. And so I'm really hanging for that. It's one of the iconic Australian movies, written by an Englishman and directed by a Canadian. But yeah, if you haven't seen Wake in Fright, it's really a brutal look at like 1960s, 1970s Australian masculine culture in a very negative way. But I was a child hanging around outside pubs waiting for my drunken father in that era. And I could tell you that there's not a lot of exaggeration there. It was a bad time for anybody with any sensitivity to kind of live through, particularly if you're a young kid with various amounts of trauma. But so Wake in Fright, in some ways, and I know this is a phrase that a lot of people don't like, but Wake in Fright triggers me in some ways, but I admire how well it shows that environment and that kind of forceful, reinforced masculine culture of the time, based around gambling and getting drunk and a repressed homosexuality in some cases, though Donald Pleasance's character doesn't seem to be repressing a hell of a lot there. So yeah, we're coming around the back of a reservoir here, which is one of the water supplies for Melbourne. That's what all these trees on the left are hiding from us. I'm heading down to, I think, Lilydale it was, that I organised on the GPS. So I'm getting out of the hills a bit. And I haven't got a coffee yet, by the way. Still jonesing for a coffee. But I will get one at some stage. Just not yet. And as soon as I said that, there's a fruit stand that sells coffee there. Go figure. And in about half an hour or so, I'm due to check it with middle-aged Kuko who just wants to make sure that I haven't had a situation like Robert Mitchum at the end of Thunder Road happening. But yeah, it's not a bad day. The weather's warmed up by 1 degree. And the mountains are looking cool. Though you can't really see them from where you are, just across the side. You got a really Kodak moment view. I like this kind of roads to drive on too. A lot of people don't, but country roads are really dick when there's lots of curves and unexpected bits, lots of scenery. Got to slow down here, and I've got to pay more attention. Yeah, lots of scenery stuff like that. I like that. The skill it requires to drive on country roads, and just a moment ago I wasn't showing you a lot of that, but I enjoy that with the fact that I've got to do the curves and top gear it a little bit. Being on a country road, much prefer it to freeways or the stop-start of city traffic. This is fun. This is a meditation almost when you go through country roads. By the way, it smells really good up here too. There's lots of smell of eucalyptus leaves and eucalyptus bark getting hit by the moisture. So I like that as well. Country smells. So I'm going to stop the vlog here for a moment until I get to the next place. Okay, we're in a place called Mount Evelyn now, which is a place named not an instruction. And the weather has got a little bit wet. So I'm trying to be very careful. And I'm also going to try to find a place to stop and get some water, if not coffee. Because I am thirsty in various ways. So yep, I think we're heading into Mount Evelyn now. Yeah, it does sound like an instruction, doesn't it? So we'll see how we go with that. And whether I can get the elusive coffee. Movies I can find. Coffee is proving to be more problematic. Now, I did see a couple of places to get coffee when I was back at Monbulk. But you never buy coffee at a country bakery because it's not their priority. Their priority is pies and cakes and sticky buns and things like that. It's never the coffee. So you got to find a place that's a dedicated cafe. There's a Buddhist meditation center here. That's weird. So you've got to be kind of strategic. If, like me, you're a coffee snob, to find a decent coffee around. Hey, I slowed down to 60 and then the speed limit slowed down to 60. So yeah, the sun's just come out, so rain stopped, sun's come out, rain's going to start again in a few minutes. And I'm going to see what I can find at Mount Evelyn here. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, yeah, still working my way towards Lilydale, where I know that there's an op shop because the guy with the arm injury at the previous op shop told me I was healed. The other weird thing that happened in that op shop up in Monbulk is the guy serving at the counter thought I was a local, had thought that I turned up at their op shop all the time. And that was a bit weird, so I just said to him, no, there's lots of old guys with beards around. I live in Hoppers Crossing, yes, 100 kilometers for you. And he kind of got embarrassed by that. But get older people stereotype you. It's weird. Because I never got stereotyped before except as guy, I suppose. But older people, there's all this shit that gets stereotyped about you. And this leads me to one of the things that pisses me off about being an older male white cis person. People assume you're a right-wing person. Let me start again. People assume you're a right-wing nut job. And to be fair, there is a large contingent of my cohort who are right-wing nut jobs and have opinions that I find so repugnant, I throw up in my mouth when they utter them. And that is weird because when I was younger, I had a beard, I had very long hair. I didn't dress in a conservative manner, and people knew I was left-wing from the way I looked, and also the way I acted, spoke. But now you get older, people assume the opposite of you, and they assume that you vote for the Liberal Party here in Australia, and you're a conservative nut job. Hey, Swansea Road. Good Welsh name, Swansea Road. Heading towards Montrose, which is really weird because one of my favourite travel vloggers, Steve Marsh, lives in Montrose, in Scotland. This is not the same place. Okay, I'm continuing for 2 kilometres. Yeah, so, what was I saying? Yeah, I really hate that assumption people make about people of a certain age. And, I've worked hard for my lefty credibility. And for somebody to automatically assume that I'm a conservative person is a deep personal insult. I've worked hard to be a lefty socialist. And, socialist. Dirty word to some of my subscribers. But it's true. I want to redistribute the wealth, baby. Not my wealth, but the wealth of billionaires will be a nice start. And I am just hanging out for this coffee and heading towards this op shop down here so that I can regather myself, call middle-aged geek girl and just get a coffee and work out what I'm doing next, because this is an incredibly unplanned day for me, apart from delivering the internet laundry basket to my outlaws. It's the time of year when we do get a lot of people out in campers and caravans. And not just because they are unhoused, but lots and lots of these around, particularly out my way, because we're one of the major routes out of town out in my way, so you get a ton of these things. And not everybody knows how to drive them very well. I was just thinking while I was driving there too, let me know what you think about this idea. I've been in Montrose now. I was thinking of doing a separate channel for the driving vlogs and just wandering around in the car, maybe doing a bit of shooting outside the car, and by shooting I do mean video, and seeing how that goes and making it like a separate thing, and hopefully at some stage getting it monetized and all that razzmatazz. But that would mean starting from scratch with no subscribers and working my way up to monetization again. But I'm kind of inclined to do that, and I've already talked to Sal about it, and she thinks it's a good idea. So let me know what you think, whether I should do a separate channel for these mad meanderings that I do on the road and in the countryside. And I don't know whether I've ever been around here before in my life. Total terra incognita. I know I've been through a lot of these places, but this one feels deeply unfamiliar, and I don't know where I'm heading, apart from the fact that there's an op shop at the end of the GPS. Montrose Primary School. They've got posher schools here that are my way. That's a nice prefab. But the city's that way. I'm not going that way. Well, I don't even know where I'm going because...
In 200 metres, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Mount Dandenong Road, C401.
Just when I needed it, the GPS came good. Church of Christ Montrose. It's an ugly little brutalist building over there. It says, forgiveness brings peace. Yeah, I suppose that's right, but then so does killing everybody in the village and putting salt on their crops. Yeah, so I'm thinking of that channel. Got to work out a name for it, which is kind of on brand for the stuff I already do. And then I can mention it on Terry Talks Movies. And hopefully I'll get some of the subscribers I've got on the channel now. Yeah, so I might get a bit of flow back on the other channel. So we'll see how that goes. It's new adventures, I may well start a media empire. That'd be really useful, because everybody I know who started a media empire ends up being an utterly ruthless bastard. So we will see, but maybe a small, like a boutique media empire might be called for. And there goes the rain again. So we'll just see how that goes, because I really enjoy this stuff. And we just fang it around the place. I may even do a vlog with middle-aged geek girl, because if I flip the camera back my way, I can angle it so you can see both front seats. And so that may well become something that becomes part of the new channel, if she doesn't get shy, which she very frequently does. Nonetheless, we're down in Lilydale now, which is a place known for its rotisserie chickens. There's a sexy land there. Haven't been to sexy land for a decade, because you can get everything on your computer now. But yeah, in this service station over on the left here, you can just see it in the camera now. There's a thing called Pie Face, which is a pie shop which is attached to the servo. The weird thing about Pie Face is their pies taste okay. They're not bad pies. They've got various varieties of meat pies, because we do meat pies here. The structural integrity of the pies is piss awful. You pick it up in your hand and you start eating it, which is the traditional way to eat an Australian meat pie. And the little fucker collapses on you and turns into a handful of very hot stew, basically. And so Pie Face, I don't know why it's so successful in places. It does have a big franchise and marketing aspect to it. So it's got that. But they're really poorly designed pastry around those pies. They are very, very bad. And every time I eat one, I've got to eat it with a fork, which I don't like doing. It's little high maintenance way of eating pies. Pie faces all over the place. If you go out in the countryside, roadhouses will have Pie Face there. But for me, it's just a poorly designed product. There's the other thing, is a cafe there, but here's the thing. Cafes in outlet store areas and cafes in light industrial areas like this never have good coffee either. They really don't. And I don't know why. I don't think it's a religious belief, but the coffee is kind of bad. Though there's a place here that says coffee and burgers, so I guess I've got to take the next left. And there's a Vinnie's and a Brotherhood of Lawrence here.
Take the next left onto Colchester Road, then turn left.
And so there's three of them here. I've hit the jackpot. There's three options.
Turn left, then turn left.
Shut up, you. So here's the Salvos. Terrific. And there's a Brotherhood next to it. And there's another one next to that. This is like the motherlode of thrift stores. Can I poke there? No, I can't. So I will go around the corner here and path and start from the other end. Okay, there we go. And there is a Vinnie's here. But to frustrate me and to vex me, to quote Khan Noonien Singh, there's no parking. Though there is outside that coffee shop if I do it right. So let's see how we go here. Yeah, go on, you park first, mate, then I will. I'll just squeeze in. Oh. Okay, so that was the drive I did yesterday, banging around the mountains, looking for movies. So now we've come to the haul. And some of this haul is the stuff that I did yesterday. Some of it's some stuff I did this morning at Laverton Market. And some of it is some stuff I paid full price for. So I'll do that part last, but we'll talk about the stuff I picked up yesterday on my meanderings around the mountains. This one I knew nothing about. It's a 2006 movie. And I've only just discovered right now that it's a Donnie Yen martial arts film called Dragon Tiger Gate. Don't know anything about it. It cost me $1 at one of these op shops. It's not an English language release, but it does have English subtitles. I know nothing about the quality of it. It looks like it might be fun, and it was odd enough that I thought I'd pick it up. The op shop I went to didn't have a lot of stuff in it that was the kind of thing I'm looking for. Had a lot of really ordinary stuff. I have seen millions of copies of Gossip Girl seasons on DVD at op shops this weekend. They are everywhere. They're ubiquitous. They're almost as ubiquitous as Andre Rieu concert DVDs. But this one stuck out from the very ordinary crowd of movies that were there. So I thought I'd pick that up. Going to check it out and have a bit of fun with it. Then I know I don't have a copy of this because I checked. But again, it cost me $1 in a different op shop up in the hills. It is widescreen. I checked all of these DVDs to make sure they are all widescreen. 1966 movie with Steve McQueen, Richard Attenborough, Richard Crenna, and Candice Bergen, The Sand Pebbles. Big epic movie about American imperialism at the start of the 20th century. Really large starring role for Steve McQueen. Not sure it did well financially, but I didn't have a copy of it, so I thought it was definitely a good pickup for $1. And then I picked up this Zucker movie for $1 again. Everybody has seen it. Everybody knows all the jokes. But I got Hot Shots Part 2 with Charlie Sheen, of course. Lloyd Bridges is in there as well. Brenda Bakke, Richard Crenna. Music by Basil Polidoro, oddly enough. Directed by Jim Abrams. Bit of fun. Haven't seen it in a while. For $1, it's not a bad pickup. This one I'm a little surprised I didn't have on Blu-ray, because I know it's been put out on Blu-ray. May have been by Umbrella, I'm not sure. But it's a Stephen King adaptation, directed by John Carpenter. Christine. Again, $1. And it's in very good condition. Look at that. Good nick. That surprised me that was there, because I know it's a cult favorite with a lot of people. And I know it's getting, if it hasn't already got, a 4K release. But I'm okay to just have it on DVD. I'm not going to be a size queen about that. This one I didn't have a physical copy of. I did watch it on Disney Plus, but it's one of those Walt Disney Family Collections movies, which has got a few different extras on it. Again, $1, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I picked that up for $1, and it's worth it. It's one of the better Disney movies of the era. Beautiful special effects. Kirk Douglas is a lot of fun in it. Peter Lorre is even more fun. I've talked about it a little bit on the channel before, but I didn't actually have a physical copy of it, which is weird. But I got that for $1. Happy with that. At the op shop where I parked at the start of this video, I only found one thing, and that was an adaptation of a Stephen Sondheim musical, which is a bit of a rare one. Very early Stephen Sondheim adaptation. This is after he did West Side Story. Gypsy, Natalie Wood, Rosalind Russell, Carl Malden. Don't get many musicals with Carl Malden in them for some reason. But I paid $2 for this one. It's in good condition. It's widescreen. It's got a few extras on it. It's on DVD. Little bit of a rarity. It's a little hard to find this one around. I'm not sure I've seen it before in a second-hand store. But I picked up that. Then this one's a sequel, but it's a sequel that's better than the original. Little kind of fairly low budget science fiction movie. Frank Grillo's in it, and Ika Uwais. Beyond Skyline. Skyline itself was a pretty ordinary movie about people being sucked into the air by aliens. But this sequel is much better. Great action scenes. Interesting plot, and it just works so much better than the first one. If I see the first one in an op shop at some stage, I'll pick it up just for completion's sake. But Beyond Skyline is really interesting, and Ika Uwais and Frank Grillo are always reliable action stars. And this one I paid $2 for. Again, it's a little bit of a rarity now, but good reliable actors in it. And I remember seeing this on a streaming service at some stage and enjoying it a lot. So I picked up that one. And then I got for $2 3 westerns, a 3 western box set with each of the 3 westerns on individual discs. One of these, the first one, got a really big release from Imprint, like one of those chunky Imprint boxes a while back, but I didn't particularly want it then at the price they were asking. And fair enough too, we each have our own tastes. But I got Major Dundee, The Man from Colorado with Glenn Ford, and James Stewart's The Man from Laramie. 3 discs for $2. Westerns are showing up in interesting amounts in op shops these days. And if you hunt around and you're a bit selective, you can find some bargains. And I did check all of these discs when I got them home. And they're all widescreen. There isn't any pan and scan going on here. There isn't any of that shifty shit. I haven't seen Major Dundee in a long time. And I haven't seen The Man from Colorado or The Man from Laramie. So when I'm in the mood for a Western, I'm just going to grab this 3-movie box set, Wanted Westerns, and enjoy the fact that I can watch them and they only cost me $2, which is what, 66 cents a movie. Crazy bargain. Happy to get it. Now, at the start of the video, when I was in Monbulk, I mentioned that I got a movie that I really, really wanted and had been hunting down for a while when I was in the op shop in Monbulk talking to Skeletor's brother. And this one is a classic, a Canadian movie. Classic science fiction. I think it's crazily underrated. I think that if you haven't seen it, you should. And if you have seen it, you're going to agree with me. And this is an ex-rental copy. It was actually rented and it cost me $3. And I'm not unhappy I paid $3 for it. Pontypool. I got a copy of Pontypool for $3 at the op shop in Monbulk. This is, for me, the best one I got on this trip. Really a rarity and such a fantastic and underrated movie. Stephen McHattie playing a DJ and just a good ensemble cast. And it does so much with so little. And I love it. And I'm going to rewatch this one probably this month sometime because it is that good and it is crazily underrated. And I do want to talk about it on a Science Fiction Saturday not too long from now. Today I went down to Laverton Trash and Treasure Market because I hadn't been down to the place that sells DVDs and Blu-rays there for a month and a half. And so I thought I'd go down there. They're very nice people. They always give me a good deal with DVDs and Blu-rays. I picked up 3 Blu-rays, 1 DVD, and they wanted to charge me $4, but I gave them $5 because I think it's worth it. And they're not a bad haul. I'm not unhappy with this. The first Blu-ray I got was Resident Evil Retribution, which I have on DVD but not on Blu-ray. And the Resident Evil movies are a bit of vulgar fun, so I don't mind having them. Mila Jovovich having fun in there. Lots of pew-pew, some somewhat sketchy special effects. Nonetheless, a good buy for $1. Then I got a DC animated movie, Batman the Killing Joke. The original comic, this is based on the graphic novel, is very controversial because of the subject matter, but they changed the subject matter for the animation version of it. I'm collecting these DC animated movies when I can find them on Blu-ray because I think they're worth it and they are entertaining. And I've got a number of them up on the shelves there. So again, it cost me a little over $1 because I gave them an extra $1. Then the DVD I got was a movie by Jim Jarmusch. I didn't have a copy of Dead Man. While I'm not at all a fan of Johnny Depp's, I am a fan of Jim Jarmusch. And this has also got Robert Mitchum in it. I think his last role. And I did not have a copy of this in the collection. This one was released by Madman Entertainment. I'm glad I picked it up. It was stuck down the corner on the shelves. And there are enormous amounts of shelves at this place. Tons and tons of them. A lot of it is TV series and things like that. And today I had to search through with a little kid who'd taken it into his head to start moving movies from one shelf to another while his parents look for films. And I'm kind of dodging around this little sprog as he's moving things around. His parents are yelling at him. And I found Dead Man. Good film, in spite of Johnny Depp. The last thing I got, which I didn't have a copy of, and I can't have everything, but again, for a little bit over $1, I got a very good quality Blu-ray of The Shawshank Redemption. Haven't seen it since it first came out, and I want to rewatch it. But the price I paid for this very fine movie, Frank Darabont's The Shawshank Redemption, based on the Stephen King story, was criminally good bargain. And it is incredibly good. The quality of it's great. The disc itself, and they always check the discs, these people. They're running a tiny little business in a shed at a trash and treasure market. But the quality is always there with their stuff. I've never had any problem with it. And they're very delightful people to deal with. So that was the other one I got. Really happy with that haul today, even though the weather was intermittently rainy and it's an outdoor market for the most part, and I had trouble breaking a 50 to buy things. But anyway, that was the haul from there. The things I paid full price for this month, and I haven't done a lot of it because I'm trying to not spend as much money and that kind of thing. There was a deal on Amazon for this, and I've been looking for a copy of it for a while because I'm going to do a video about 1970 spy movies, and this one's got to be on there because, in a sense, it is a spy movie, an assassin movie, intelligence stuff. I got the 4K and Blu-ray of the Eiger sanction, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, based on the novel by Trevelyan. A really good movie about an art professor who also assassinates people. Good supporting cast. You got Vanessa McGee, you've got George Kennedy, Jack Cassidy. Good film. Getting it on 4K and Blu-ray, I got a very good deal on it, and I was very happy with that. That's a satisfying buy. Haven't rewatched it yet. I'm going to save it till I get the other 2 or 3 movies I want to do for that video together, and then I'll watch them all back to back and review them. But I was happy to get the Eiger section on the 4K. The last thing was a release from Imprint this month, and they didn't send it to me. In fact, they haven't sent me anything in the last month. I don't know why. I have sent them an email, but I haven't received a reply yet. But I wanted this one. It's their blaxploitation box set, which has 2 blaxploitation westerns starring Fred Williamson, The Legend of Black Charlie and The Soul of Black Charlie. The original title of the movie didn't have the word black in it. What it had instead was the name of the dog in the Dam Busters, basically the N-word. But I watched The Legend of Black Charlie so far. The other 2 movies on there are Superfly TNT, the sequel to Superfly, which isn't quite as good as Superfly, but it's still interesting, and a movie which is kind of late in the blaxploitation cycle, and also has a white actor in it, Alex Karras, and that is Detroit 9000. So I've got those. I'll show you the individual discs. There's the card, which I put into the box itself. There's The Legend of Black Charlie. The sequel, The Soul of Black Charlie. Superfly TNT with Ron O'Neill. And here's Detroit 9000 with Alex Rocco, Harry Rhodes, and Vanessa McGee. Haven't seen this one. I'm looking forward to seeing this one. But The Legend of Black Charlie is an interesting Western. I don't think it's a great Western, but I think it's an interesting one because of the viewpoint of a trio of escaped slaves who travel across the West and end up going up against a mad cult of religious nuts who happen to be white. So that's an interesting box set there, and I'm glad I got it because I'm deeply interested in blaxploitation. And these movies were movies that kind of slipped between the cracks for me, and I hadn't seen them. So I picked that one up and bit the bullet. So that's what I got for you this time around. That long driving vlog at the start and then the haul. This video is going to be a bit fish and fowl. You've got the driving vlog at the start, then you've got this haul. So let me know what you think of me mixing up these formats. It's not something I'm going to do all the time by any means. And I've got another driving vlog which is shorter, which is coming up this week, of me driving to see Captain America Brave New World, and I did a bit of a driving vlog at the start of that. So there's going to be a little bit of that content over the next week or so. And I'll put up a poll on the channel to see whether people like my driving vlogs. I'm considering doing a second channel for random driving vlogs and some things I want to do with Sally. And we'll start a new channel and just see if we can grow that in a somewhat different direction than Terry Talks Movies. Let me know what you think of that idea, because I want some feedback here. I know if I start a second channel, I'm going to have to grow it a bit to get it monetized and to make it viable, but I don't mind that challenge. I think there are some things I want to do with what I do, which don't always sit comfortably in the Terry Talks Movies format. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me what you think. You can also support the channel by becoming a channel member, by donating through YouTube, or by becoming a patron at patreon.com/TerryTalksMovies. And you get some things earlier. You get my monthly Spotify playlist. And you get a few other little bits of groovy stuff. So next up, I've got a big haul from Umbrella Entertainment, which is really interesting. And then, of course, we've got Science Fiction this Saturday, when I'm going to do the previously promised trilogy of movies that I really enjoyed, but which a lot of people disregard as serious science fiction. So until all of that happens, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies. Go out and find some $1 movies and have a good time with yourself. And I'll catch you next time.